Evans? Roseland? We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the invocation by Scott Wiley, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
I invite you to pray. God of justice and mercy, thanks for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our wonderful city. Help us to act with character and with conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with clarity and restraint, and give us a spirit of service and unity. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority, and guide us to be the leaders that your people need. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons, no matter their perspective or personality, with the honor and respect your creation deserves. And finally, Father, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community beneficial to all its citizens. And we ask this in the precious name of Christ. Amen.
Now it's time to adopt the agenda. Motion by Solomon to adopt the agenda, second by Jones. All in favor of adoption of the agenda say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries. For tonight's meeting, we have no speaker request form for the general public comment. We do have some speaker forms for items a little bit later in the agenda. So we'll skip the general public comment. On to non-public hearing items, items 1 through 46. There is one speaker request on item 17, so we'll open that public comment. So the speaker on item 17 is Jamie Kirsch.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Thank you so much for offering me this opportunity to speak on behalf of our city logo. I have been working with the police department now for 3 years, and as a part of that effort, I've had some experience with logos. One such effort is the Hood Cakes effort that Tyler Reed has been involved in standing up at Norwood Townhomes, and this is an effort that centers around youth and engaging them in public safety. The youth cook baked goods. They sell these baked goods to then support helping to buy door cams for neighbors whose cameras have been harmed by vandals, and other such projects like that. And the youth wanted a logo to represent the work that they were doing. And that logo not only represents the work they're doing, but it also represents their partnership with the police department as well as with the community in addressing some of these public safety issues in one of the most violent areas of our community. And what does this have to do with the city logo? Well, our youth outreach team, which engages in this public safety work with youth and many others, also has a logo. Why do we have a logo? Well, our team lifts each other up in our weaknesses. We support each other in our strengths. We call each other when we're not feeling well or when we're not at work to make sure we're okay. We celebrate birthdays together. If somebody's tire blows out, we're there to pick up their kids from school. And it's because our team comes to work, they do impactful work, but they come to do the work as well as to be a part of our team. And it's important that they remember that we're all in this work together and the difficult work that we do every day. It's easy as city employees to get mired down in our silos and to forget that we're doing work together every day. If there's one thing that I've learned as being a part of the Culture Champion effort at the city, it's that the public library, for example, is as much a part of responding to violence and houselessness in our community as the police department is. They open their doors to provide warmth to our houseless community, where they can connect with family members through technology, apply for jobs, get access to learning tools. The library takes their resources on the road to communities affected by poverty and violence. And they otherwise wouldn't have the ability to connect with these resources unless the library was doing that with us. We are also a part of your team. Every time you have a constituent that calls on you to do something in our community, like help with a pothole, or they have complaints about a car that has been broken into, you call on us, city employees, to work with you to address those issues. And something as simple as a logo helps us remember that we work together every single day in this community to address very difficult, complex issues, but we do it together. And I think something that can remind us of that is important. And hundreds of employees voted for the logo, so it matters to them. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you. And that'll close our public comment period on these items, and then we'll go to consent items 1 through 41. Would the council like to pull any items? We'll go to Lance Lehman.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 4.
Okay. Pat Jones.
Thank you. Item number 12, please.
Greg Stroman.
17, please.
Okay, so I have items 4, 12, and 17. Would there be a motion to approve the balance of the consent calendar? Motion by Armstrong.
Second.
Second by Nordstrom. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On to item 4. Carly Holding LLC, doing business as Carly Holding LLC for a new retail malt beverage and South Dakota Farm wine license and a package delivery license at 301 Main Street. Lance Lehman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just need to abstain from this vote.
Okay. Motion to approve by, John Roberts, second by Pat Roseland. All in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with Mr. Lehman abstaining. Item 12. Authorize mayor and interim finance director to sign an amendment to the contract with Azteca Systems CityWorks for additional logins to the standard AMS Enterprise License Agreement for an additional amount of $12,395 for 2023 and $17,500 for 2024 and 2025 for a total expenditure of $220,395. And so we'll go to Pat Jones.
Thank you very much, Mayor. In looking at this, I did not know what the Azteca Systems was, and we're requesting more logins than an original purchase, and it's a very pricey item, obviously something we need, and so I asked Public Works Director Mr. Tech to give us a brief explanation, so if we may defer to him, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. CityWorks is our work order system that we utilize in Public Works. We use it in nearly all divisions of Public Works. So that is a way for us to respond to anything from water main breaks, sewer cleaning projects that we input into the system, as well as taps for new services. We're looking to expand the usability of the system and integrate it into our facilities for maintenance and preventative maintenance tracking. In addition, we intend to also integrate that into our fleet maintenance as well. So it's a system we're currently using. It works very well. It's a great way to track service, make sure that things are getting done on time and as planned, and we're looking forward to expanding it.
Very good. Thank you. That's all.
Okay. Motion to approve Lehman, second by Nordstrom. All in favor of approval of item number 12, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 17, authorize city departments to use the new citywide logo. Greg Stroman. Hold on.
Maybe that's a sign. So I watched the Legal and Finance meeting last week. I watched it online, and there was a lengthy discussion about the logo and some of the same things that Ms. Kirsch brought up tonight. but since that legal and finance meeting, I've had contact with lots of constituents of mine. And even though there appears to be sufficient support to pass the logo, with several council members changing their position and not even willing to seek any kind of a compromise, I do want to give voice to what my constituents' concerns are. And that is that the big question is, why do we need a logo? We have a seal, we have several departments that have a logo. I guess they're not convinced. I'm not sure I'm convinced that this is going to make this big a difference. I feel like we do a pretty good job of taking care of our city employees. And right now there is a lot of concern amongst the constituents about where their property taxes are going that are going to be assessed by the county. And I just would like to have had a closer look at the costs involved in this, and if this is really something that is essential to the city's business, or whether we should be doing something else with our time and energy. I heard discussion at the Legal and Finance meeting that the cost of this was $4,200 that was paid to Robert Sharp and Associates for designing the logo, but that is, to me, a little short-sighted, because there's quite a bit of costs involved. This has been a process that's been going on for months, according to what I heard at the meeting, if not over a year. There's been activity from over 300 city employees that are putting their time and energy into this. And then there's going to be a cost of implementation too. And even if we do it ourselves at our computers, that's still using the taxpayer money to implement this. And I just want to make sure that the record is clear that there are other views out there. And know that my constituents didn't come and pack the room for Legal and Finance. They don't have that type of fervor for this particular project. But I do think the record needs to be clear that I think there should have been a better understanding of what the costs are involved, and not just the out-of-pocket costs, but the intangible costs, and what are the tangible benefits from this measure. And like I said, I don't have any illusions about where this is going. I think we pretty well know where this is going. But I do think that it was important to bring this up. I try to be conscientious. I try to listen to what my constituents say. I try to represent their voices, be their voice on the council. And so that's what I'm doing tonight. I do believe there's a cost to this that we're not looking at. And I think that should have been developed further. I think it should have been investigated. And I think we should have had a better presentation than that. And with that, I'll yield.
Okay. Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Second by Jones. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the concerns of Alderman Stroman, and especially the concerns of the public, but this is an in-house project, mostly done by the employees on their initiative. So that's the reason why I'm supporting it. And then some of the other facts that have come out for me is that several employees have approached me since this item was tabled, and because of confusion by a member of the city council, it was tabled, which I did not approve of. And if it would have been continued, I could have supported that for more investigation. But now the information is fully vetted, and I think we have all the information out there. And the biggest concern that I hear time and again is a cost on this. I think we're not looking at the full picture or the larger picture of what is taking place with this logo, because the way I look at it is that it is spread out over the different departments that are involved in this. Each time that we bought a vehicle, we put on a new logo on the sides of those vehicles. So it doesn't have to be done all at once. And each department did it on their own. or division did it on their own. The way it looks to me is that it's very concerning that we're worried about the reams of paper that are being purchased for the different departments within the city. So this is another reason why we see the numbers or the dollar amounts that are very low on that part of it. And there's other people that can explain it better than me that are involved with the budget on a daily basis, but we don't have to get into the business of counting reams of paper. And with that, Mayor, I'm sure there's some other comments, and I'd like to see what other people have to say about this, but I think it's something that the employees look forward to with all the work that they've put into this, and it puts them on the same level as the city council members, that they feel like they were let down in this process. So with that, Mayor, I'll yield for the moment.
Okay, Pat Roseland.
Thank you, Mayor. I got on this bandwagon probably 8 months after it started, since being new on the council. And I had a lot to learn what happened prior to that 8 months I got here. And I did not hear from any of my constituents, but I did hear from city employees. And some of them felt like their gut punched. They put a whole lot of time and energy into this logo. And as Richie said, that this is kind of one of the first times they felt like they're on a level playing field with city council or the directors, because they had the same vote. And they put some time in there, and I visited with others who called me and city employees who just basically came up to me and talked to me. So I'll be in favor of this city logo, and I appreciate all the work that the city employees have done. Thank you much.
Jesse Ham.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I did a little looking into this. I'm like Mr. Roseland, I was kind of new to this process. There was a lot of work done that was in the background behind prior to me coming on. And one of the things that I looked into and was affirmed was that there wouldn't be any added costs in terms of, we're not going to roll out beyond the budget that was already there, a lot of expensive, you name it, to add this logo to the arsenal. And that this isn't a static thing, that if it's something that the city, for whatever reason and whatever faction decides to change, that it can change and that it will. So I don't see anything static, or sorry, I don't think anything that's long lasting that's permanent, so we can modify as we need later on. And yeah, there are costs. I agree with Mr. Stroman when he says that, city workers and city employees' time is valuable, and that does cost the city. And at the same time, they probably would be working on similar projects, whether this was a new logo or whether they're working on similar projects. So I'm in favor with some stipulations that are that they were added in, that they're not adding budgetary costs beyond what was already allocated, and that is not static. So thank you.
Pat Jones.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Ms. Kirsch made some fantastic comments, and she usually does, and these are very much direct to the point on this. My feelings on this changed a little bit. I got to thinking about all the years that I worked in schools as a teacher and a principal and that kind of thing, and any school that you go to has a mascot, and people rally around that, whether they're young or old, male, female, all points in between. People rally around that school mascot. When I was principal at Central High School, we had a slogan, once a cobbler, always a cobbler. And there are people that know and remember that term to this day and are proud of it. So to me, if we can have a logo that comes from our people, that makes them feel united and brought together to work hard, be part of the same team, even though they're spread out all over town, I think we should support that. It matters. It's a small thing in some ways, but it's big in others. And I believe in our staff, and if this is something that is important enough to them to bring forward, then I certainly support it as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll just add a comment to the discussion, and that is that this is not a lengthy process surrounding the logo. City employees don't have very much time invested in the logo. The logo was an important byproduct of a longer process that had to do with establishing and reaffirming the city government organization's mission, vision, and values. And that was an important process that probably started more than a year ago. And it had to do with refining scope of duties and employee responsibility and empowerment, engagement, that sort of thing. And from that came the concept of binding us together with a common logo. And so we didn't go about trying to rebrand the city of Rapid City. So we're not going to go, burn this into a hill so that everybody can see it when they come into town. This is a city work logo. That's all it is. And as far as the cost goes, as I said in the meeting, we're not heavily branded here. We don't have to take down neon signs and repaint buildings and all of this type of thing. We're going to add the logo the next time stationery is. Next time we have a stationery order. We're not going to throw away any current supplies. We put stickers on trucks anyway. And so over the course of time, this will be a slow transition. So anyway, I think the logo has about 10% of the employees' time and effort in this whole thing. So anyway, having said all that, we have a motion on the table to approve item 17. All in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries with 1 no from Mr. Stroman. Thank you, everyone. And that will take us through the consent. Now on to non-consent items, 42 through 46. There are no speaker forms for these items, so we'll forego the public comment period and go straight to item number 42 under community development items. A request by Mandy Schmeierer for Jamie Gerlach for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed lots 1 through 5 of Tract C of Boland Placer subdivision, generally described as being located at 10535 Sheridan Lake Road. And the recommendation is to approve with stipulations. Motion by Solomon, that's what his name is, and a second by Lehman. Oh. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 43, a request by Renner Associates LLC for Brian Thompson for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed lots 3A and 3B of Block 2 and dedicated Pacific Drive right-of-way, Pleasant Hill addition, generally described as being located southwest of the intersection of Pacific Drive and Twilight Drive. And again, the recommendations to approve with stipulations. Motion by Lehman, second by Stroman. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 44, a request by TKM Design Solutions for Christopher Ham for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed lots A through D of Red Rock Shadows, number 2 subdivision and dedicated right-of-way, generally described as being located at 7380 Murfield Drive. The recommendations to approve stipulations.
Move approval.
Motion by Jones and a second by Stroman. Okay, all in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 45, a request by Toei Design Group for Altaterra Development for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed lot 1 of Block 2 of Moon Meadows Park subdivision, generally described as being located southeast of the intersection of Highway 16 and Moon Meadows Drive. And the recommendation is to approve with stipulations. Motion by Roberts, second by Solomon. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 46, a request by KTM Design Solutions for Rushmore Industrial LLC for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed Lot A of Folsom subdivision, generally described as being located north of Old Folsom Road. Recommendations to approve with stipulations. Motion by Lehman, second by Pat Jones. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now on to public hearing items, items 47 through 53. We have some speaker request forms for item 50, so we'll hear those now. Reminder to the speakers tonight, we have 3 minutes. You're not obligated to take it all. The first speaker is Brittany Remington.
Thank you. I'm brand new to Rapid City. I just moved here last year from Oregon, and my friend Tiffany, I've known her for about 20 years. It got me involved in Rotary Club, and through Rotary Club, I volunteered at Storybook Island for their Adult Fun Night last summer. I've also been involved in their Halloween, the safe trick-or-treat there, and I absolutely loved it. It is a vastly different world from Eugene, Oregon, where I'm from, but I think the Adult Fun Night is great, especially someone who is so brand new to the town. It really introduced me to a lot of different people. It introduced me to the community, and it really helped me feel like I could be a part of this really great town and really great community. So I think the Adult Fun Night is a great way for that. It's also a great way to reach a broader demographic, to raise funds for all of the different initiatives that the park does have that the other speakers will be able to touch on and provide a little more information on. But that is, I think it's a great event to have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Tiffany Gickling.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I just wanted to ask that you vote in favor for the alcohol license for the Adult Fun Night fundraiser that we have coming up in June. As a nonprofit, Storybook Island relies on the funds coming in from the community. We host different events, and we have for several years hosted events in the park, and we are asking for this without any children present. It's adults only, and it's just a way for us to raise funds to make a difference. And we have been trying to raise funds for some of the bigger projects we've been working on, trying to create an all-inclusive play environment for our children. And this is one night that we're asking for the park to be closed to families and open to adults to have and enjoy the space, including bringing in 10 different food vendors, getting some bands together, playing yard games, having a cornhole tournament, and just having a good time in a safe and responsible way. The park always makes sure that we check IDs, that there's somebody there making sure that it's a safe spot for people. And I know that there has been concern brought up, but in the past couple of years since we implemented this event, we've had nothing but positive feedback, and it's just been a great environment. So I'm just asking that you guys vote in favor for the liquor license so that we can continue raising funds for this park. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Janet Kaler.
I'm just going to say that I have volunteered at Storybook Island for several years on different events. And a year ago, I was volunteering at the Adult Fun Night. And it was, I was working the gate, and no one gets in without a driver's license over 21. In fact, I even have to show my driver's license. So I think it's a great event. They are trying to raise more funds for all the projects going on at Storybook Island, which is really growing. And I just hope you approve the license. It's a great event. Thank you.
Thank you. Martha Rodriguez, former city councilwoman.
Very former. Thank you all. A couple things going on what the ladies before me have said. I have been the ID Nazi. I carded my son, who is 41 last week. I carded a gentleman who was born in 48, and I told him, I said, man, I think you're the oldest. His friend was born in 46, so I ended up having to buy them both a beer. It's fun. I've had more people stop me at the grocery store, any place. I had so much fun. The guys that won the cornhole tournament, the first one, on their Christmas card, they had a picture of their trophy. It's the most fun. We don't have children. We never get to come to the park because we don't want somebody to think we're strange, but we had fun. A lot of people have said to me, this is a fun event. This is the only time we close the park to children or a private event. It is very well guarded. We have people there constantly watching. We make sure nobody leaves drunk. It is a fun event. And just for some of you that don't know, we are trying to make the park the only park in Rapid City and South Dakota that is totally 100% all abilities accessible. We have wheelchair swings. We have a chariot for our carousel that will be wheelchair accessible. We have a car for our train that is wheelchair accessible. And I can guarantee you, when you guys see the price of those items, your jaw will drop. I had no idea how expensive those items are. We have received Community Foundation grants for our all abilities. We definitely want to support Rapid City and keep it beautiful, keep it safe for our kids. It is an event that has tons of fun, and I don't drink beer or wine, so I like the 7-Up that's there. And I just think we really need to continue to support Storybook Island so it remains free, key word there, free, all summer long. And I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. And next is Steve Anderson.
Thank you, council members and mayor. I just did come here to speak in support of this initiative. I've heard a lot of the great work that's been going on. The ADA compliant facilities that they put in, they've redoing many of the exhibits there, Cinderella and Winnie the Pooh, some of those other ones, and also some of the other things that have gone on. So I would ask that you guys vote in favor of this to continue the support, expose the park to kind of a new cross section, some older people that are go out there and enjoy the park. And as you know, the sale of alcoholic beverages is a fundraiser. Summer nights is a good example of that. So this is another way for the park to raise money, and I'm happy to support what they're trying to do there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that'll close our public hearing on these items, which takes us to consent public hearing items 47 through 51. Motion to approve consent by Pat Jones, second by John Roberts. All in favor of approving consent, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now on to non-consent public hearing items 52 and 53, starting with item 52. Second reading ordinance 6564, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. A request by Vicor for Black Hills Energy for rezoning request from no use district to general agricultural district for property generally described as being located at 3575 Skyline Drive. Motion to approve by Nordstrom and a second Solomon. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 53, second reading ordinance 6565. An ordinance amending section 17.06 of chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. A request by Long Branch Civil Engineering for the Holding Company LLC for a rezoning request from Office Commercial District to General Commercial District for property generally described as being located northeast of the intersection of Marlin Drive and East Minnesota Street. Motion to approve Jones, second by Lehman. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now for the bill list, item 54 will go to Interim Finance Director Tracy Davis. Oh, hold on.
No, I'm on. You're good now. So there are no changes to the bill list, so the total is $8,045,407.28.
Motion to approve Solomon, second Lehman. All in favor of approval of the bill list say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn by everyone, and is there a second? Second by Nordstrom. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, we're adjourned. I missed.
All in favor?
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't see nothing.